Hey, how's it going, guys? So this is going to be a relatively long video. Basically, it's going to be a tutorial on how you could use your seed investment that you may have purchased near the top of the bull market, and how you can use and recycle that seed investment within ranges to bring your average down back to current price action, so you're no longer under the water, basically. Um, but yeah, let's dive into it. There's a few things I need to teach you first, just so you can fully understand how to do this strategy, and then you'll be able to go from there. But yeah, I'll show you guys on the inside, and yeah, let's go. Let's do this. All right. All right. So we got to pull out a chart on TradingView first. And the first indicator you're going to need to add to your chart is the VPVR. So you just go to the indicator section right here, and you type in VP, and then you'll see visible range volume profile, and you want to add that to your chart. Once you have that added, the first thing you're going to want to do next is go to the settings and go to inputs and adjust the row size to 200 and the value area volume to 100. The rest of it you can leave as default. Now, the VPVR is a relatively simple indicator to understand, but once you have those inputs set up, you'll be able to see it the same way that I do. The first rule that you're going to need to know about the VPVR is that whatever price action you have on your chart at the time influences the structure of the VPVR over here. So you have to make sure that you have as many candles as you possibly can on the daily chart, so you can get the proper structure with the VPVR, like the way I have it right here. So now that you have that done, the next thing you're going to want to do is you want to pull out the horizontal line tool like this, and you want to add them above and below these areas of interest right here. And the areas of interest is basically the point in the price action without the historical price action of the asset where there's a lot of volatility, and as price develops at these points, these points of interest grow bigger and bigger and bigger and have a larger influence over the price action of the market when we come to that price again. For example, if we look at the current price action of Bitcoin's around $20,000, right? If we saw Bitcoin come up and we broke this downtrend level of resistance to verify that we're going to be in a relatively strong bull run, we have to look out for all these areas of interest acting as potential levels of resistance. So it's very important to have all these lines drawn on your chart above and below each one of these levels of interest in case you need to undercut them while you're doing your trades. So another way that the VPVR influences price action, because they're areas of interest, we tend to trade sideways inside these areas quite commonly. Right? You can see how we trade sideways here, a little bit here before we got rejected, right? All because of it being an area of interest. And these areas of interest can develop and get stronger over time as price action develops around those areas. Anyways, in between the areas of interest are called valleys. And I'll show you an example of how price action behaves between each one of these valleys. So you can see right here, this is a valley between two strong levels of interest. And whenever we see price action break above these areas of interest and use it as support, you can almost guarantee that price action is going to be relatively quick getting to the next area of interest, like we saw right here and how we saw it right here. Where's another valley example? You can see right here, this is a valley. And we saw a price action come down through here really quickly. Quick pump and dumps. Quick movements between it. We rarely consolidate inside these levels. If we do see consolidation, then you'll notice that the VPVR will reflect that and the area of interest will start to grow. All right, so let's clean up the chart here and start with the lesson now. So we have the VPVR set up. You kind of understand how it all works and how it's important to use it. So now we're going to zoom in a bit We're going to remove the VPVR now that we have these levels drawn. Okay. And basically how you use these levels, let me just add the VPVR again really quick just so you can get a good visualization. All right. So let's say you bought right here. You just got into trading. You're influenced by the news saying that it's going to 100,000, but there's a lot of buyer's exhaustion, and you decided to jump in after you saw you took one lesson of TA or something like that. I don't know, and you saw that we got a support bounce off the recent all-time high. So you thought we're going to go to 100K, and instead we get a double top. You weren't there to react off of it, and we started to plummet ever since. Anyways, so let's pretend that is your average, and our goal with this lesson is to show you how you can bring down this average to a point where it's currently in sync with the current price action, so you can then hold a lot better position. You don't have to sit on your hands waiting until Bitcoin gets to 59,500 again for you to be able to get out with a profit. So let's do this. So we got 59,500 and you bought 1 Bitcoin. Okay. When we get to these areas of interest, like you see right here, the moment you start to see price action get rejected at the top of the area of interest, you can prepare for this to become a range. A range is basically a location where you start to see price action act as resistance and support very commonly, and you can react off of it with relative ease. So what you would do, now normally I would recommend only putting about 10% per trade or less, especially if you're a beginner, like 1 to 3%. However, we're just going to do an extreme example. And let's say you put in like 25% of your Bitcoin holdings into a trade. So you decide to sell at this level of resistance right here, and you would rebuy at the level of support inside of this area of interest. So from that sell and that purchase, the repurchase, you would have accumulated about 7% more Bitcoin. So if I were to pull out the calculator really quick, because math, 0.25 times 0.07, you would accumulate 0.0175 Bitcoin from this one trade. So now what your goal is, based on the current price action, you can see that we're at 20,200. You're going to need roughly 3 Bitcoin to be back at your break-even valuation for when you first invested into Bitcoin. So the next tool I'm going to recommend for you to get, it's 100% free. You just go to CoinMarketCap and you add a transaction, and you use one of these portfolio trackers to track your average. So if you were to buy 1 Bitcoin at 59,500 transaction, and you can see right here that our average is at 59,500. And we can see that we're at a loss right now of 39,287. So we need to recuperate those losses. So if we were to add another transaction, you can click Add New here, or you can click on this plus button behind me. You can't really see it, I'm sorry. So just click on Add New up here, Bitcoin. And we're going to add the quantity that we just accumulated, 0.75. And the price, you would actually put the cost of the transaction instead. So let's say after all the fees, it costs you about $15 to buy, to sell and rebuy. Depending on your exchange, that fee could change, but you should use this tool as a way of tracking the fees. So it would cost you about $15 to accumulate the 0.0175 Bitcoin. Add transaction, and you can see that now our average has gone down to 58,476, and your losses have gone down because of it as well. We're down to like 38,900. And our goal is to basically track and find these ranges to accumulate as much Bitcoin as we possibly can, so we're back at that break-even valuation. So if we go to my chart again, Make sure I get the proper chart. Got a million charts. Here we go. All right. Again, we get to this area of interest resistance. In the lower time frames, you could probably see this forming as a double top, and then you could have sold your Bitcoin and repurchased at this area of interest. If any other bearish activity were to occur to maybe influence a break to the downside, you can prepare for a stronger move to the downside and reaccumulate around there instead. Now, ranges can sometimes be tricky to define or find, but these points of interest right here are a huge indication of where a range is going to form. And you can see this one was going on for about 30 days before we ended up seeing price going to the next area of interest. Let's see if we can find another really good example of a range. You can see right here, this area of interest right here. We got this range right here. You could have, once we saw the top of the area of interest act as resistance, you could have sold, rebought, sold, and rebought, and sold, rebought. And from here, within this range, you could accumulate 8% for each transaction and bring your average lower and lower and lower and lower. And at these levels, because of the market cap's has gotten lower for Bitcoin, we only need about a $2,000 move in order for us to accumulate 10% more Bitcoin. So doing this during a bear market is very crucial because we're probably going to be in a bear market for another 2 years, maybe with one strong relief rally in between that. But while we're at these prices, this is the best possible time to be doing this strategy because we need less of a dollar move in order to get ourselves 10%. Whereas with Bitcoin was at $30,000, you needed a $3,000 move. If Bitcoin was at $60,000, you would need a $6,000 move to earn the same amount of Bitcoin. So while we're in the bear market, this is the best possible time to accumulate, guys. Not financial advice, but this is what I'm doing. So here's another example of a range. We can actually move this over here based on the current price action that we're back inside this range. So you could have sold after we lost support from this bear flag here that we built. You can see the bear flag a lot more in a lot more detail on like a lower time frame. But we broke the bear flag right at the top of this range, and then we knew that would probably go right to the bottom of the area of interest and get the support bounce. So this is where we'd repurchase. And from here at these levels, between each thing, yeah, it's about a 9%. 9% move, so you can accumulate 9% more Bitcoin over and over and over again between these ranges. And if you're struggling to find these ranges on your own, I actually have a community where you can actually get these range trading signals given to you for multiple assets other than Bitcoin. So if you were to buy Matic at the top, you could have used these signals to basically accumulate more and more Matic. Or if you are someone who likes to grid trade, this is a great strategy as well to find these ranges and then calibrate your grid bots at these levels of resistance and support, and basically have it the range trading bot to trade within it, and then you have your stop loss just outside of the ranges, so it basically deactivate when we break outside of these ranges. If you don't have a bot that will deactivate outside of ranges, then you basically just have to set a price alarm whenever we get close to breaking out, and then that way you're forced to look at the chart during the appropriate time, and then you can turn off the bot. So basically you just create a horizontal line like this, click on the add alert button, and you can have it send you an email, you can have it text you. If you have a webhook URL, you can actually like code your own system to notify you in a different way. You can actually text you, but make sure you have the most obnoxious and unique sound so you know it is has something to do with your trading and not just some other notification that might accidentally influence you to ignore it. Let's see. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much everything. This is just a way for you to use range trades to try to get yourself back into the profit zone by accumulating as much Bitcoin as you possibly can. In this scenario, you'd have to keep doing it until you accumulated about 3 Bitcoin. So you're back at the break-even point. And it gets easier and easier and easier while we stay at these levels longer term. And based on this trend line right here, we could be in these levels for quite a long time. And let's see. This is like 137 days before we could have a point of contact if we were to trade sideways right here, which is definitely a viable thing that could end up happening. We sometimes see sideways price action in bear markets go on for about 3-4 months all the time before having a relief rally. If we do end up having a relief rally, if you want to prepare for it within this video, we could have a double bottom right here play out. If we end up using this as a level of support, then we could come up and retest this. If we retest this and then end up basically breaking past this downtrend level of resistance and we use it as support, then we're basically in a relief rally that could bring us to about $50,000, $45,000. And then we'll have a larger structure before the halving event to prepare for a longer term trade with. But anyways, that's pretty much everything I got for you guys. This is basically how you can use range trading to accumulate as much as you possibly can to prepare for the bull market. If you can lower that average as much as you can, you know, bring it down every single time you accumulate, then you'll have a much better average for your profitability for when we're back into the bull run. We got quite a bit of time for the next halving event, which is usually the most significant event for Bitcoin to trigger a bull run. I believe it's in May 2024. So we've got about 2 years before a large bull run to occur. But yeah, if there's anything that you guys are struggling with this, you can reach out to me in the Discord and I'll do my best to help you out. But basically, that's pretty much it. You can use these boxes to help define your ranges and to create your alerts. But that's range trading. Have yourself an amazing day, and thanks for watching. If you want to learn more on how you can do this yourself, basically just go to investorshare.com. It's in the link down below, and we'll do our best to help you out. Thanks, guys.